All right, first things first, I want to thank you guys so much for all your support and feedback on episode 1 of the 41 podcast. It means a lot. You get a bit nervous putting out something new, and to get so much positivity and so much good feedback from you guys, that shows me that you guys want to see more. I guess going into episode 2, I just want to look at it like how I viewed life and the outlook on the world in my sophomore season of basketball when I played in the UK. And instead of sitting and interviewing myself, I actually have somebody else on the podcast who agreed to sit down and talk to me. He's somebody who I respect highly. He's a good point guard, great leader. So this week I have Tony Hick sitting down talking to us, and yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking with him. Let's dive into it. I appreciate you hopping on the call with me, dog. So here we are, episode 2 of the 41 podcast, and it was just a couple of things I wanted to go over with you, right? I wanted to talk to 2 important people from my journey in basketball, right? And at this point of the journey, right, I'm talking about Surrey and some of the important aspects that happened to me while I was there. And one of the first things I want to talk about is just like the COVID season, right? So playing during COVID, it was a difficult time, right? Because I'm used to, it's really like technically kind of my rookie season still, because like my first season officially got ended by COVID when I was in Portugal. And then coming from that to Surrey, to the UK, where we had no fans, you know, had to check in, no swabs, all that day in, day out. Practices were kind of dull, couldn't really do nothing. You're in the house all the time. Like I was going crazy. So like for you, somebody who was playing a little bit longer, like how was that a different type of basketball, if it was different at all?
Yeah, I would definitely say like it was different. Obviously, not having fans, I think that was the main difference, though. But you know, I think that depends on the player. Like certain players, they don't need fans to play. They're gonna play the same, no matter if it's 10 people or 10,000 people watching. For me personally, it didn't really matter. But it was. I would say practice was a little dull sometimes. We would just be excited to get out of the house, you know what I mean?
Facts.
Couldn't really do much. Being in those two houses could get a little depressing from time to time. Obviously, the nose swabs was horrendous every day. They digging in our brain. But as far as playing basketball, it wasn't too different for me. I was in a familiar place, you know what I mean? I had played in Surrey my rookie season, so I knew Creon, you know what I mean? Like it was a familiar environment, so it wasn't too out of whack for me. But it was not as exciting, I would say, to not have fans, because you don't know, but my first year, and I'm sure from what you heard, like the sports park can get kind of lit, can get kind of rowdy. So just not having no fans for sure was a little dull, but I don't think it changed too much for me personally, like basketball wise.
Okay, so outside of basketball, right, what did you do to occupy your time? Because we really couldn't do much.
Yeah, that was when I had picked up Warzone for real, honestly. In a major way. You know, me, Tom, shout out to Tom, me, Tom, Cam. Yeah, I was really locking in on the Warzone. Yeah. I really started tapping into watching like online church services. That was like when I really got introduced to Mike Todd. That's like the church that I kind of follow all the time now, Transformation Church. So yeah, it was definitely a tough time because, like you said, like we couldn't do much, and being so close to London and everything, I could tell you like for my rookie year, I was going to London all the time. So like not being able to do that and just literally being stuck in the room all day was definitely tough.
I think one of my biggest regrets was not bringing my Xbox. I brought it to Portugal.
No, you can't never do that.
I brought it to Portugal and I was like, that was a hassle. Didn't even really get to play it because like the different connections, outlets, all that. I'm like, I'm gonna just keep it home this time, dog. And then like for me, I was just in there playing. I brought my iPad, but I'm over here playing Call of Duty Mobile while y'all boys playing Warzone. I'm just like, man, I'm missing out. And like you said, shout out to Tom. I still talk to Tom on a daily basis.
Yeah, Tom that's game right there.
So I want to talk to you about like mental health and how athletes kind of quote unquote survive in another country while overseas, you know, because we're away from our families, loved ones. Like sometimes, like the way me and my wife operate, like sometimes she comes back home to work because she has a good job opportunity, but like sometimes we might be away from each other for three months at a time, you know what I mean? So how do you personally deal with surviving overseas?
I think it's different for every person. Like you said, you have a wife now. Like, situations vary depending on the person and like what their life is like, whether they got kids back home, etc., etc. For me, I think that earlier in my career, I just found things to like keep me busy, good or bad, And as I've gotten older, it's gotten tougher in terms of missing my family, missing my daughter, things like that. But the basketball has gotten better, and I'm more adapt to being in Europe now. You know what I mean? I just finished my 7th season, so I kind of know how to maneuver being somewhere foreign for so long. But it's definitely a battle sometimes. I definitely have some nights where I like really not necessarily want to go home, but I miss home. You know what I'm saying? Obviously the food, the family, just the atmosphere, just the like walking. You know what I'm saying? Walking down the street saying like, "Hey, how you doing?" in English, things like that. And before we started recording, I was telling you about where I was this past season. It wasn't the most civilized place, being from Chicago. So it was definitely different. I was pretty much only going to the gym, going to the grocery store, and going home. That was my life. But now, I just find ways to keep myself busy. The past 2 seasons, one of my good friends has come out here to spend like 10 days with me. That's always like super refreshing. Whether you can have some family or whoever to come visit you, that's always like super refreshing to see someone from home. But yeah, I just think that over time I've just adapted. I'm still on the war zone heavy. I'm tapped into a lot of podcasts. Okay. I do a lot of reading and stuff. Podcast game is big now, so there's plenty out there for all kinds of topics. Find a good routine, what I'm saying, whatever it is that works for me, and just stick to that. But even with all that, of course, there's still days, times where I just, miss home a little more than usual,
I think relating that to me, I feel like one of my biggest like saving graces is just like FaceTime. Dog, I feel like I wouldn't be able to survive at all without FaceTime, and I don't even know how the athletes like back before your time and my time, like what, in the early 2000s or whatever, I don't know how they managed to do it,
I know them phone calls was expensive back then.
Facts, sure. Dog. Like, a question I want to ask in that story, right? So like, has there been anybody who you were able to like meet while you were, in your country? You know what I mean? Like for me, like I would go out and just talk, like because I'm tall, people kind of gravitate towards me because like they're interested. But like I met about 3-4 guys who I'm still in contact with now who speak English. I met some guys from the UK, I met some guys from Australia, and I'm talking to them on a regular. Like, have you met anybody like that, like in your situation? Like outside of your teammates?
Not really outside of my teammates. I think that you're much more of an outgoing personality than I am. But nah, not really, because I'm not really this past season I wasn't even in that type of environment. In the Czech I was for sure, but I was mainly only like rocking with my teammates, I would say the closest person that I have met on that scale is Tom. Again, shout out to Tom TV. That's the guy.
That's the goat.
But yeah, I would say it's Tom. For sure, I think that can help a ton. Just to get someone, like you said, outside of your teammates, because sometimes, depending on your teammates, but sometimes you don't even want to have anything to do with basketball. You need that escape, and you love your teammates, especially them being American. You guys having a unique bond, but even just being around them, I hate to say that like it's a bad thing or a selfish thing, but sometimes being around your teammates, it still just puts you in that frame of mind of basketball, even if y'all aren't even talking about basketball, so I do think that that's a really cool thing. I got plenty of friends back home that don't play basketball, and I have some of the most unique conversations with them, some of the deepest conversations with them, and I think that's a precious thing. That's an important thing, especially like you said. It's around the world. You know what I mean? Like I think that like this is such a blessing for every basketball player that's able to travel the world and see different cultures. It gives you such a unique perspective on life. Like I go back home and I kind of feel like I'm so cultured. Like I feel like I can go anywhere. You know, like I can step into any room and be myself. Genuinely be myself and be welcomed. Being myself, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Not having to put on any kind of mask or act a certain way in front of this person or that person, and I credit that to a lot, like just the places that I've been, the experiences that I've had, the rooms that I've been in, the things that I've seen from being across the world for 7 years now. So for sure, I think that's important. But me personally, I haven't really locked in with someone outside of my teammates, you know.
Okay, I got you. Last little question, and then I'm gonna let you go ahead and handle your business. All right. So the last talking point I had was like, how was your time playing basketball in the UK? Just saying, like for me personally, it was I enjoyed it. The basketball aspect, I enjoyed it. And just like any new team, you're gonna take what you know. You're gonna learn different things, and I learned quite a bit there. I had pretty good footage. You know, so that helped me in, you know, further down my career. Were there things I wish I could have changed? Absolutely. I feel like that's any player. So tell me about that and like one of your most memorable moments. Let's talk about that one. That's a good one.
So, you know, I played 2 years.
Right.
I'm gonna just stick to our season.
Okay.
Which was my second stint for the listeners and everything. So I played in the UK my rookie season, and then I came back my 4th season, and that's when I played with Dre. So I would say that season, it was really good. Like obviously it was familiar, you know. I think that COVID was a unique time. The previous season had ended early because of COVID, and a lot of people's careers were ended because of this, you know, not having enough film, just not playing, you know, well enough, or whatever the case may be, where they still probably had time to change that if the season didn't end in February, March. So for me, I signed late, obviously, because it was slow for me as well, just like most players. But I think for me to be in a familiar situation, a familiar organization, me being so close to Creon, knowing most of the UK guys that were on the roster already, I think it was amazing. You know, I didn't feel a ton of pressure, like to go out there and need to do anything extravagant, because I had played there before and played really well, and I knew at that moment I was a better player than the last time, so I wasn't really worried about anything like that. I just wanted to come in and be solid, you know, and try to do whatever I could. Obviously, there were some situations that had went on that season when I first got there, you know. So I was just trying to play everything really, be really peachy and be cool with everybody, you know.
Yeah.
For sure, I know that when a guy comes back to a team, or when a guy comes to a team and a lot of the people know the guy, there could be a lot of friction between like the new guys on the team, you know. So, and I didn't want anything like that. You know me personally, like I'm a team guy. Like I want all of us to gel well. I want everybody to eat. Like it's gonna be good for all of us. So I just came in and wanted to just have fun and just do what I knew that I could do. I think we had a pretty, all things considered, I think we had a solid season. And yeah, like it was fine for me, honestly. I think that probably the most memorable part of that season was catching COVID. I thought I was gonna die, Dre. That first day, I will never, and I used to like, I was one of those guys that was like, I'm never getting the vaccine. They done made this virus, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
People that got COVID, it's just a flu. It ain't, bro. I caught it the first day that we all got sick. I thought I was gonna die, bro. I thought I was gonna die. I would hit my foot or like my leg on the bed just like this, and it felt like I got shot. I was like, ooh, couldn't breathe. Like, for sure that was the most memorable. As far as on the basketball court, for me personally, I don't know, man. It might have been. I don't know. We had some really good games, like some tough games, and some. That was a really good season. I could point out a lot of games that went. You know what I mean? Like a lot of different highlights, a lot of games that were really chippy. There are a few. I would say the one we played. Anytime we played Plymouth, there was a lot of jawing going on. Okay. Every time we played Plymouth. And that was always, I love that. I would say some of the passes that I was making, though, honestly, like not necessarily one, but there are some passes that I made that I haven't made, like passes like that in my career again. I think I nutmegged a few guys. Obviously, I threw you some lobs, Lacey some lobs. I think I really got my goggles on that season. That's when I really turned up with the goggle game. And I think that, like, as far as basketball, that's one thing that I really think that I took from that season. Some of the passes that I was able to get off.
Okay. I'm gonna agree with that for sure. I think that first off, I'm
gonna do some shit in the A. I'm a looking ass.
I'm gonna say I had a most memorable play, right? But you just made me think about a couple more. I think almost anything that had to do with Cam was memorable. Dude came down the court one play. He came down the court one play, hit a 360 layup, and I'm just looking like, how in the heck did that happen? Then
he's 17, 18.
Yeah, as a 17-year-old, and then he hit like a half court, like full court shot to win the game, something like that. Yeah.
Against Saints.
Yep. So I'm gonna say anything to do with Cam, but I would damn near say one of the most memorable plays for me. And I just think it's funny as heck because I used this clip in a couple other clips when I was doing just basketball tips. Was run the floor, right? It was one time I got a rebound, I let it to you. You just said, "Run, Dre." It's this clip of me sprinting like I'm Usain Bolt down the court. Like you said, dime.
In Surrey.
Yep, dime, dunk. I think it was one of our last games, or like second to last game, or something like that. But
yeah, it was late in the season, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
I don't know who it was against. It might have been like Newcastle or something.
I don't know, but I got the clip somewhere. I got the clip somewhere on deck.
Yeah.
But
I know the players.
Yeah. But for sure, man. That's all the questions I have. But I appreciate you taking your time to talk to me and share your experience, man. And I know it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it'll mean a lot to a lot of other people that want to just get to know who you are, and people from Surrey who still are in touch with my content and yours as well. So, man, I appreciate you taking your time out the day to talk about it.
Man, don't be like that. We like that.
For sure. This is just me. I gotta be professional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bro, thank you for joining the 41 podcast. I can't wait to clip this up, especially intertwining what you have to say, and hopefully I can get something good from Cash. And man,
I know he got some good info.
That'll be love for sure, dog. But all right, Tone.
I appreciate you having me, bro.
Yes, sir. Have the rest of a good day.
My dog.
All right, boss.
Yep.